Hi everybody, this is Pete with Old City Press, and I'm in my shop tonight, and I thought I would talk about plate material. I get a lot of questions when, a new printer or someone who gets a new press, they want to know what type of material should I use, right? Photopolymer material. Should I use 94? Should I use 95? Should I use 152? And a lot of them will direct them based on what kind of press they have and then what kind of base they have with that too. It could be a standard base or it could be deep relief base. And, they'll usually take our guidance and it works out well for them, but we don't really ever truly explain like what the difference is between K152 plate versus 95 plate versus the standard base versus deep relief base. So I thought tonight I would just talk a little bit about the material, the thickness of the material, and just kind of show some examples of K95, which is basically the same as K94, versus K152 plate with the bases, just to give you an idea of what those look like. And there are some like very small, there's not much difference between them, but it makes a huge impact on printing. So yeah, all right, let's get started. All right, so here we go. Here's a shot of this side over here. This is the deep relief base. This is the standard base. I'm not sure if you can get that, but what I'm trying to show you is that the deep relief base, this base, is a bit smaller than this base. So let me see if I can just move the camera up on here and show you the difference. Okay, yeah, okay, here we go. See this lip right here? So this is the standard base. This is the deep relief base. And you can see this little line right here, right? That's being shined on. That is the height difference between these two. Very minimal, right? It's very, very minimal between them going across here. So that's a difference. That's basically the difference between a deep relief base and a standard base. It's not some riveting thing. You can see it looks so close. It's hard to even tell because it's so close here between the two. It's really hard to tell, but it is like just a little bit, and you can feel it with your finger when you're running across here that the standard base, this base, is thicker than this one. So not much difference between the two, but it does make a difference though. So all right, and the second thing I want to show you now is the differences in plates. So in the plate material. So the plate material, what we have here is, and this is not easy to see, and you can see like, this stuff, you can see like the difference being like millimeters. It's so small, but it can, 1 millimeter off can make a huge difference in the way your printing goes. So, okay, so this one over here is the K95. It's a little bit thinner. This one over here is K152. It's a thicker material, right? So what you have is K152 plate on a deep relief base. And over here you have 95/K94 material, either one, on a standard base. These are just general rules of thumb overall. So that's the two materials. It's really, it's like really hard to see the difference in them. And even to hold them, you know by holding them that the 152 feels a bit thicker, but it doesn't necessarily make it a thicker material overall. So okay. So what I'd like to show you next though is what does that mean, right? This is going to be the most rudimentary explanation ever of why 152 material with a deep relief base for a platen press. So okay, this is a scenario. So this is the platen press, and what that means is these are the metal rails, and this is your roller, right? All of this whole scenario is based on what is called type high, which is 0.918. And that's basically like the industry standard for printing, type high. Okay, so what happens though is, your press, your lovely new press is probably from, 1918 like mine is, or 1940 if you have a Kelsey press, or 1920s or 1900 if you have a CP Pilot, or if you have an old style, it's going to be pre-1900. So these machines are really old. So mind you, it's supposed to be type high. But what happens though is over so many years of rolling back and forth, right? Here's your, here's your rubber roller, and this is rolling down through. So the wheel on the roller, right? The truck is on the rail. So the wheels on the rollers are called trucks, and then this is the rail. Metal on metal, right? 20 years, 30 years, 50 years, 100 years, running back and forth. over time, this is no longer type high. This metal gets a little bit out of whack. So it's not type high anymore, right? So that doesn't, you know, everything's falling at industry standard, but it's not falling at industry standard. So if you moved in with a standard base, which makes type high, look what happens. You have your standard base in there, and now the base is sticking higher than the rails. And then what happens is you put your any material, right? So if you put regular material on there, but even before you even got the material on there for a second, you would, if you run a roll over, it's gonna be ink all over your base. Bad day, bad day, bad day. I got ink all over my base. You'd be like, ink all over your base again. You'd be like, what happened? You're gonna wipe it off. You're gonna know what happened. You're gonna roll again. Ink all over your base again. That's basically what happens because the base is based on type high because this is what it's supposed to be. However, these rails are not based on type high. So that's why you use a deep relief base in a situation, because a deep relief base is thinner. So even if the rails are a bit worn out, then it's normally not worn out enough that the deep relief base sticks out. So the idea is you have a deep relief base, which is thinner, and then you go ahead and compensate that by using a 152 material, which is thicker. So that way what you have is, in this situation, is you have your, you know, this is not perfect. This is right here, right? This is still worn out some. But what you have here is, this is not going the way I want, but okay. So what you have here is the rollers are worn out, so they're not quite type high, but you're not worried about it though because the material's sticking out. So when the roller's coming down, guess what? Ink on the material, ink on the design, ink on the design, ink on the design. Happy printing day. That's really what happens. So there are printers out there, you know, that don't use this. They use the standard base. They don't use the deep relief base. They use the standard base, and I think I just threw my standard base. Oh, here it is. So that standard base, right? And even if it is crooked and worn out, they use tape, and they run tape along these rails. I suggest aluminum tape. You can go to Home Depot or Lowe's and get aluminum tape. You don't want to use duct tape or anything like that because it's pretty soft, and this metal on metal will eventually smash that, so you want to try avoiding that. So I use aluminum tape because it's a little harder and holds up longer. So you use aluminum tape and you actually put it on the rails and until it is matched up. And it takes some playing back and forth. You can use the type high gauge to do that too, which, let me show you, type high gauge. All right, I am back. So here is a type high gauge. Right, and this is the original one that came with my Vandercook. So type high gauge overall, and what you would do is you pull the base out, you run this between the roller and here, the roller's on there, you run it between here, and you can see how much ink is on here, and that helps you determine on the height of the base on there. And then so you put more tape on here, and it brings all this out, boom, 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 brings it all out perfect. And then there you have it. So tape the rails to keep ink off of the base and solely on the plate. And that's why there's no standard way for this for any printer, because every printer has different use. Every print machine has had different use in its lifetime. So there's no one way perfect for this. So okay, that was just a rudimentary idea of showing you how to use, why we use a deep relief base with 152 plate for a platen press. Hope you enjoyed it. Thank you.